Alright, the Reds, it's talking Reds from Liverpool, rainy Liverpool today on Friday. I am joined today by Josh Sexton, and we are going to have a chat about stuff that's out and about there in the world of Liverpool Football Club. Top of the list, mad gossip. It is summer and we always get mad gossip, and we always talk about the mad gossip no matter what the mad gossip is. The show for that on the Anfield Wrap is, of course, The Gutter. If you subscribe, you will know that. If you don't subscribe, get involved and listen to it. It's Rob Gutman getting very excited about every single player that's linked to Liverpool this summer, talking about the goods, the bads and the uglies of those links. The big link then today, Josh, this keeps coming back. I still personally don't find it any more believable, but we're here again. It's the summer. People want you to click on things. Liverpool could bid for French superstar Kylian Mbappe, as the 22-year-old forward has told Paris Saint-Germain he wants to leave the club this summer. His contract expires in 2022, and it appears that PSG are in sort of the shit, really, with him, in that he does want to go. He sort of hinted at that a few times. Plenty of journalists saying that's the case. They're in a bit of a quandary, and do they sell this summer and get some money for him, or do they wait till next summer where he can just get off for nothing? Not ideal, obviously, when they paid £166 million for him in 2018. My big problem with the idea of him coming to Liverpool is, of course, that he's on £403,000 a week. Which is fairly hefty, 21 grand,
isn't it?
21 grand, £21 million a year. Now, to put that into context, this is according to the internet, of course, but, you know, I've done my best. The high earners at Liverpool are Thiago on 200 grand a week, Mo Salah 200 grand a week, Firmino 180, Van Dijk 180, Becker 150, Henderson 140, Milner 140, Keita 120. Now we're not getting value for the money there, are we? Oxlade-Chamberlain 120, Mane 100, and on we go. You get the picture. He would be coming in on double, or he would want, you would think, double the top earner at Liverpool. Unless, of course, he loves Liverpool that much and loves Klopp that much, and he's like, I'll just take a 50% wage cut to play for the Reds.
The funny thing is that's what we're sort of always led to believe with a few of these transfer stories, aren't they? Like I've seen quite a bit about like Mbappé to Liverpool. And there's all this talk that supposedly he's been speaking to Jurgen Klopp. You know, Jurgen's probably took him on the waltzies at Blackpool and all that kind of thing, trying to sweet talk a deal there.
Went on a plane once upon a time with FSG.
Went on a plane with FSG once. That was another one of the ones. Yeah. So it's one of them. Like I'm always in the old mindset of a Liverpool fan, I think, where you're so used to us being linked with these players down the years. I can remember when Liverpool was shit and we were still being linked with like absolute superstars, and you never thought it was going to happen. So I find myself still sort of in that mindset where I don't genuinely believe. I don't think that Kylian Mbappe would come to Liverpool, but you know it's time for me to wise up as much as it's time for Kylian Mbappe to wise up, I suppose, because Liverpool are one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the best teams in the world at the moment, if not the best team in the world. The other clubs that you'd historically sort of put Kylian Mbappe's name next to, like your Real Madrid, your Barcelona's, they're not up to much these days. They're a bit of a fucking basket case, both of them really, aren't they? So it seems like if he was going to move from PSG, then Liverpool are one of the top destinations for him to move to. So does that mean I think it will happen this summer? I'm not sure, because I still think that even though his contract's up next summer, PSG would still fancy themselves a bit to negotiate a new deal within that year. I think he's one of them where you almost negate for what you're going to lose over the next year in terms of what he will help you win over the next year, because he could go and help them win the Champions League, and then it's a completely different story then in terms of a renewal for him. So I mean, I don't know what he'd be worth this summer. You'd imagine it'd be sort of in the 100 million range still. So I think it remains to be seen. That next summer is the one I'm really interested in, because if PSG do keep him, do back themselves to negotiate with him, and then he still says, no lads, I told you I want to go, can Liverpool get him on a free? Well, that's when you can say the wage ultimately doesn't matter, because you're not paying 100 million for him up front.
We shall see. His figures, of course, in case didn't know, are of course fantastic. So for PSG, 171 appearances, 132 goals and 61 assists. It's not bad, is it?
It's all right.
The other thing that's today is it is the anniversary today of when Liverpool won the league for the 19th time, which is nice. I think we should talk about these things, because once upon a time it felt like we'd never be talking about number 19, and it was a bit weird, wasn't it, Josh? Let's be honest, in that we weren't in the ground, and the season didn't end the way we wanted it to, but we still had you know, the first section of the season, we got to watch a title-winning side. They were still our boys. They still lifted the trophy, and the history books show Liverpool won the league. And, you know, I will forever talk it up in that I got to look fellow Reds in the eye and go, fucking get it, we won the league. And once upon a time, you know, many a time, you know, following the Reds over my lifetime, I've been like, it's never going to happen. It's just, you know, it's cursed. It's not going to happen. So I'm really looking forward to number 20 and number 20 with people in the ground. But 19 was still all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And like you say, it did get to that point. It was my, you know, whole lifetime of not watching Liverpool in the league. Liverpool last won the league 5 years before I was born. So it genuinely did feel like it was something that I would, something that I would never see, to be honest. And in that sense, I think we got to a stage, didn't we, where it sort of, you know, Neil's got the chestnut saying we are where we are within the Anfield Wrap parameters, and it was so true for that. And Neil said quite a lot as well about, you know, I think there was quite a lot of people, you know, certainly a lot of the sort of opposition fans that I mix with who sort of said to me over the summer, oh, you still don't know what it's like to fill the league, to win the league. Sorry, you still don't know what it's like to be in the ground and feel that moment when you win the league. And I sort of said to them, well, I was at Manchester United at home, and that's what it is like to win the league. You know, I wasn't at Leicester away, but I watched that, and there was fans in the ground. There's Liverpool fans, away fans in the ground, and that sort of moment is what it's like to win the league. It's not necessarily the...
That's when we sang it, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Manchester United. That was when we were like, everyone was like keeping it under down low, like didn't want to say it, didn't want to jinx it, was worried like fuck. But then that United game when we won at home, that was when we all let it out, wasn't it? And, you know, that's a boss moment and a boss memory from a boss season. It was
when we truly believed it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look, I think, you know, we've probably sung that song in the past, maybe a bit early and maybe not truly believed it at times, but that Manchester United one, it wasn't even really sung, was it? More so roared out of the stands when that second Salah goal went in. It was just absolutely unreal. So, look, obviously the pandemic happens and you sort of can't account for that in terms of, you know, fans aren't going to be in the ground. We don't really know where we're going to be at this stage. Last year we're still sort of well in the first lockdown, aren't we, at that point, or just coming out of the first lockdown, I think. So it was tough. It was tough, sort of not being able to go to the ground, not being able to you know, will the lads over the line in that sense. But you know, it's still sort of, if you want to draw positives from it, still gives us those scenes of the lads at Formby Hall, which you probably don't get if it's anything else. So I think you can sort of still draw some positives from it. Liverpool have still won the league. It still goes on the record. It's still the 19th league title. But like you say, it'll be nice when we wrap 20 up next season with fans in the ground.
Yeah, it certainly will. Some of the boys and some of the girls from the Anfield Wrap walked 24 miles last weekend to raise money to support a kitchen project out in Mumbai. Obviously, the COVID situation out there is particularly bad, as you've all seen on the news. And the official Liverpool supporters club in Mumbai have been supporting it. They wrote to us and talked about the scheme, and as a consequence of that, as I say, some of the Anfield Wrap team got together and walked all the way from Southport to Anfield, taking in 5 football grounds on the way to raise money. And it's ended up raising what, 13 grand?
Over 13 grand now, yeah.
I mean, that's stupendous, isn't it? I shit out with family commitments, so my feet are fine, but there's plenty of people in the office still nursing blisters, etc. This week. But Ash was on that walk as well. You never get to really see Ash. He's behind the camera right now, but he took his camera along. He made a little film about the day, and here it is.
Well, we've just arrived at Southport. It's looking good. Can't see much else at the moment. Neil's just arrived. Michael's just arrived as well. So yeah, we're getting the squad together, ready to go.
See you later.
Bye.
We're feeling good. There's about 15 of us, and yeah, spirits are high at the moment, as you can tell. The guys from LFC have kindly arranged for different supporters clubs to join us virtually. But that's going to be really cool. So we've got some old friends, some friends of the Anfield Wrap, bossed at the different supporters clubs all around the world are all supporting this and supporting, obviously, our LFC Mumbai.
Right, we are 4 miles in. Is that right? About 4 miles in. Feels like we've been going about 5 hours. It's actually been an hour and a half, so that feels good. So far, so good.
I think there's good dynamics. Harriet's been like a steadfast person. She seems to be like, people are coming to her for some like at the back respite. There's the outliers at the front who are like pumping us along. John's doing the rounds, throwing jokes out everywhere, and we've just got Sam, which is a nice little added boost. Little half walk, half jog person, you know, good.
Been good so far. I'm enjoying it. Making good time.
Who's good for?
Craig made a good joke before.
What?
That was surprising.
We're at Marine, absolutely delighted to be here. Having got this far on College Road, Rossett Park, getting ourselves settled. Bootle next, so it was a big slog to get to Marine, so there's about 9 miles left.
Arrived at Bootle now. I think we've got about an hour now to get us in, and then just across the park is what we've done. So it's incredible. I had a look on the walk there, and I was hitting a low point, and I had a look, and we've raised over 9,000 now, which is obviously really good. Also, well in everyone who's donated.
Get down to Goodison Park, home of such wonderful moments as Sadio Mane's late winner just before Christmas. Gary Mack, 2001, of course, that was good. Steven Gerrard scoring the belter and then running down the whole end. We're here at Anfield. It's been a very long day. It's been a fun day, but I'll be honest, towards the end it did get tough. Morale got a little bit lower than it had been, and yeah, we all got a bit fed up of walking, to be honest with you. We'd walked for a lot. There's a lot of sore feet, a lot of sore legs, but a lot of smiles that we're finally in our home of Anfield. Feels like something to have achieved. We've all had a laugh together, but obviously also, most importantly, we've raised loads of money, so the targets just have kept going up, and as we've hit them, and you guys have kept being really generous, so it's been boss. I know the Mumbai Reds are made up, and I know all the supporters clubs are a bit sort of touched by it, so yeah, it's been lovely. It's been hard, it's been tiring, but all worth it.
Up the Reds.
Okay, there you go. Look good, didn't it? It looks better just watching the film than doing it, I reckon. I've heard there was some low points around Bootle. But yeah, it was it's all for combating extreme hunger as a result of the COVID crisis in India. If you still want to chip in and help, you still want to give something to a good cause, you still can do. And the information on that is in the description of this video. How was it, Josh?
It was tough, like you say, around Bootle. It was fun for the first part, and to be honest, we absolutely flew through the first part as well. John Milburn, one of the Anfield Wrap contributors, sort of tracking it all on his like Fitbit watch or whatever, sort of telling us how quickly we were going through the miles and stuff, and that sort of kept you going for the first part. But like me and John were two of the ones who were setting the pace on the walk, so we were at the front quite a lot. And that really, really caught up when we got to Bootle, because Bootle to Anfield or to Goodison is basically just a straight road up, and you can see the end of the road the whole time, so you're sort of at the bottom of it going, oh no, which just made it horrendous, and my knee started going and everything. So look, we got it done in the end, and all for a good cause as well.
Yeah, and good support as well from the club. Some people
Absolutely.
from the club got involved, and they even went the extra mile and arranged for Anfield to be opened up at the end, so they were all able to get inside the ground and see the ground, which is always a nice boost, and it was a nice touch by the club as well. So we're all very appreciative of that support. The second half of this then, what else are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about a little thing that I saw that I just thought was nice. Obviously, there's loads of build-up now to England v Germany in the Euros. Everyone going on about Southgate's miss back in '96 and all that kind of stuff. Henderson's done some media around it, and I just like the idea that he said as soon as it was clear that Germany were going to be facing England in the Euros, he said he got a text off Klopp, just a smiley emoji. Just that was it, just the smiley emoji. And I just like the idea of that, you know, like everyone has daft little jokes with their mates or whatever. Like, I mean, me and Josh send gifs of people putting thumbs up all the time.
Loads of them.
Loads of different ones. Don't actually know why anymore. It's just one of them, innit? But yeah, little smiley emoji dropping in Hendo's inbox. You like the idea of that?
I love how much sort of like friendly needle there is within the squad, because I do take that sort of being friendly needle. Jurgen sort of saying to Henderson, like, bring it on, lad. And obviously we've seen, you know, with Robbo and Trent down the years, their sort of little friendly rivalry. I love all that kind of thing, because that's what you need, isn't it, to sort of breed the winning mentality that Liverpool have been able to breed at the club, is that sort of, you know, these people are your mates, you can have a laugh, you enjoy going to work. But part of the reason that you enjoy going to work is because, you know, you get in there and you get these little battles and these little bits of needle. So yeah, I'm absolutely all for it, and I hope Klopp is smiling by the end as well, to be honest.
Well, we shall see. I mean, in the same interview, he talks about Henderson, that he thinks, you know, having Klopp at Liverpool and him being such a big figure in the Premier League, you know, he's likeable, isn't he? And a lot of people who don't support Liverpool like Klopp. And he said he thinks it's maybe softened some of the bollocks. He didn't use that phrase, that's mine. Some of the bollocks around England and Germany, which I'm so fucking tired of. I mean, I'm of an age where I've like been reading it and hearing it for so long now, and it's just like, no one gives a fuck about the war boys. No one gives a fuck about German bombers. Like, go to Germany, have a bevy with German people, see a great country and great set of people, and come back and just forget it and stop being a prick, because it's just dead boring. But Klopp being, like, you know, a high-profile German man in this country, I think Endo's right. That's no bad thing.
No, not at all. I think, you know, Jurgen has sort of claimed the hearts and minds of certainly Liverpool fans, obviously, but a lot of opposition fans as well. My stepdad's a Man United season ticket holder. I think he's actually given up this season, to be honest, unsurprisingly. But he sort of always said to me, you know, pretty much from the moment Klopp walked through the door at Anfield, he said, I'm quite envious of that, because Jurgen Klopp is one of those managers who you just feel like gets it at any club he goes to. He sort of, you know, forms that Shankly Holy Trinity thing of making sure that the club and the players and the fans are connected, and he's done that again at Liverpool. So I think there are a lot of fans up and down the leagues and up and down, you know, just the nation in general who idolise Jurgen Klopp and want managers who are like Jurgen Klopp, and people who buy into it, and he's you know, he's certainly bought into this, hasn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't really seem to piss anyone off, does he, either? It's like, you know, there's been moments, don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't think the Blues were particularly happy when he ran onto the pitch.
Look at Jurgen Klopp!
Which was an absolutely brilliant moment. But, you know, like, he gets on with Ferguson, doesn't he? And he's like belling Ferguson to say, won the league there, lad. Do you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. So, yeah, well in Klopp. Keep being boss, mate. Away goals, then. You will have seen away goals have been scrapped by UEFA competition. Varying views on this. Some people for, some people against, some people not sure. 56 years it's been in place in European competition since 1965. Liverpool being on every end of those rules, basically. I was reading up on it yesterday, and there's some mad stuff that's gone on in Liverpool's history. Obviously, if you go way back, there was, you know, tossing a coin to decide who's going through in Europe, which I don't think anybody wants. You've got to have something to decide, and from now on it will be extra time and penalties. If it comes to that, there will be no away goals rule. You know, I think about little moments that, you know, I've seen where away goals have influenced it. You know, we go through against Barcelona because of away goals. You know, there's that moment with Goodjohnson against Chelsea, which, you know, will live with me for the rest of my life. And the reason we're all on, you know, the reason the whole ground froze in that moment was because of away goals. So it is, for me, taking something away. I felt like something did need to be done. But I think if it had been up to me, which it obviously wasn't, I would have said scrap it when you get to extra time of the second leg. I always thought that was unfair, because, you know, the team that's away in the second leg therefore got more of an advantage of away goals. And I always thought that was a little bit unfair. There's other moments, isn't there? There's, you know, when we go out to Atletico Madrid under Rafa, when it was absolutely toxic in the ground that night in terms of people who loved Rafa and people who seemingly hated him. I remember you bastards. You know, that might have kept him in the job a little bit longer if it hadn't been for away goals. So, you know, there's loads of them, you know, sown through the history of Liverpool. But what's your thoughts on it when you read the news?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Me and you sort of talked about it briefly sort of yesterday afternoon when the news first came out, and you mentioned some of the wins wins that Liverpool might not have had if the away goals rule wasn't in effect. And you know, obviously, no one's taking them away from us, but we're not going to be able to replicate that kind of thing in the future. I'm neither for nor against. Like I can't really bring myself to be too passionate about it, because I can sort of understand why the powers that be in football are making those kind of decisions. Like I'm a big fan of basketball, and a lot of the rules in basketball are sort of ever evolving. They're trying to change them to make the game more exciting, and I think that's a good thing, and it's a good thing for the sort of basketball product. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of that in football. Obviously, you know, we've seen this season that there are a few American owners involved in football who want to try and rip the heart out of it and do it like that. I don't agree with that, obviously. But I do agree with adding rules to make the game more exciting, or taking away rules to make the game more exciting. And I think with the away goals rule, you'll obviously think back to, you know, times of Rafa and times of Houllier, where Liverpool probably went to away grounds in the first leg, stole the away goal, and then sort of, you know, rode it out in the second leg, or vice versa. And you won't see that anymore. And I think that personally adds to the excitement of the game. I think it means that there's always more to chase in a game than if there's not a goal which counts for two. And even the mere fact that a goal does sort of count for two is a strange concept, really, isn't it? If you were trying to explain that to someone who wasn't into their footy, then it's hard to explain. So it's one of them. Football's always going to be, I think, a very sort of traditional sport. So there's always going to be people who sort of kick up a fuss when these kind of things come around. But like I say, I'm neither for nor against it, really. I think I would be fine if the away goals rule stood, but I also understand why this is sort of being taken away as well.
Yeah, I mean, UEFA talk about that. They think they justify it by saying that there isn't as much of a thing now between home and away as there was once upon a time. So I sort of get some of the arguments in that, you know, like I've talked to people that went on some of them very early European trips with Liverpool, and they were like, you know, it literally was a journey into the unknown. You didn't know anything about the opposition, about the ground, about, you know, you couldn't sit there watching DVDs or look it up on YouTube. You know, it was literally like you didn't know what you were getting in terms of the quality of the pitch, what the fans would be like, even what you might be eating when you're over there, you know, full it. And so, you know, then the results shown a massive home advantage. What UEFA are saying is that's being chipped away at, and now they don't think it's needed. I mean, it's very much a we shall see. I mean, I wonder about, you know, where would you want to be drawn in a two-legged tie now? Would you want your home leg second? Would you want it first? I mean, like, you know, my initial thought was, well, whoever gets drawn at home in the second leg, that's a huge advantage. But then, you know, I saw Phil, you know, ever the contrarian on Twitter saying, you're like, you know, well, what about when we've absolutely humped sides first in the home leg? Another one's Mo, isn't it, at City? You know, that goal was extra special because it was an away goal and things like that. There's loads of them, you know, in Liverpool's history. Maybe we do something on it. I don't know more on it, but I mentioned a few already, didn't I? You know, 06, 07, Barcelona. What else? There's a semi-final, isn't there? 81 against Bayern Munich. Liverpool win that on an away goal and go through to the final. So we could be one European Cup down if it wasn't for away goals. So it goes on forever. Like I say, I think there's arguments both sides, isn't there? It's happened now. There's nothing we can do about it. So it's very much a sort of suck it and see what happens. I wonder, my other little concern about it is it a rule change that favours the big boys a little bit? Do you know what I mean? Because is it one where, you know, like you sort of said there, you know, like an underdog like hangs in there, grabs an away goal, and that in itself is intriguing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's a fair point, I think, because like you say, there will be sides who sort of, particularly if they're drawn away from home first, will go to an away ground to sort of steal a thing. But then I sort of think that is part of the excitement of it, is that then that you know, that little side's gonna have a go, and sometimes you see that in cup ties over here. You obviously see you see sides dogging it quite a lot, but there's been occasions in the past where smaller sides have gone to bigger grounds and absolutely tonked them. I think it was Barnsley, wasn't it, who played against Chelsea, like, you know, I'm talking way back now, sort of in like the mid 2000s, late 2000s. And I'm sure they went there and absolutely tonked Chelsea. And there'll have been examples like that throughout the past. I'm not sure I agree with that idea from UEFA, by the way, that the playing field's completely level. I can understand why they've said it in terms of, you know, as you said, the pitches are all sort of similar quality and things like that now, but they're not sort of accounting for the difference between a set of home supporters and a set of, you know, away supporters. Yeah. Because I've been to some European away grounds where, like, even no matter how loud the Liverpool fans are, the home fans are absolutely, you know, on top. So I wouldn't sort of say that UEFA are completely correct to use that as their reason in there. I think, you know, the thing they should probably say is that it will add to the excitement of the game, because I do genuinely believe that it will now.
we shall see. All will be revealed when that starts to be the case from next season. That's been Talking Reds, I think. That'll do us. Loads of stuff, as ever, on the Anfield Wrap. Video, podcast and writing, theanfieldwrap.com. Download the app as well as ever. If you haven't already, check out the free stuff on there, but also you get a chance to have a go at some of the premium stuff as well, with some free tokens there. And if you like what you see in here, get involved and subscribe. And do, as I say, donate if you can spare some money to that good cause that we mentioned earlier. Have a good weekend. Up the fucking Reds.